In this video, we'll look at finding the area of composite shapes. It's composite shapes too because I already made a previous video. But here we go for today's video. So the first question, you've got what looks like a picture frame, and there is a shaded area here we're trying to find. It's supposed to be two squares, pardon my artistic ability, it's obviously not my strength. But let's see if we can solve this. Some people will look and see 4 trapezoids, which you can do, it's just a lot longer. Instead, I'm going to focus on the fact that there's an outer square and an inner square. So first I'm going to find the area of the small square. I'm going to call it A small. Notice these letters are below the A, it's called a subscript. So this is the area of the small square, which I'll just do as length times width. You could do length times length or width times width because it's a square, it's the same side by side. And you know that because these little double ticks tell you all 4 sides are the same. So the area of a square, or a rectangle with 2 sides the same, is just both sides times each other, which give you 64. You can do that on your calculator if you want. 8 times 8 is 64. Don't forget to put your units though. These are centimeters squared because it's an area. Okay, now we've got the area of the small rectangle. Now let's find the area of the big rectangle. Once again, it's length times width, or the same 2 sides multiplied together. And you can see the big rectangle has these 3 ticks, meaning all 4 sides are the same. It's a square that measures 14 by 14. You can do that in your head. I'll just check on my calculator just in case. I'm pretty sure that 14 times 14 is 196. Yep. And so you get 196 centimeters squared. And so now to finish it off, the shaded area is this whole big square, take away the unshaded little square. I'm going to write that, area total. Again, notice the subscript, it's A, and then below, bottom right is total. The area total is just the area of the big square, 196. Take away the area of the small square, 64. Try it in your head or use your calculator. 196 minus 64 is 132 centimeters squared. And usually it's in the form of a word problem, so let's put a word answer just to be sure. Therefore, the area is, and it's understood we're referring to the shaded area, is 132 centimeters squared. That was the first question. A little trickier is the second question. If it's hard to see, this is supposed to be a big circle. Again, pardon my not circular circle, but it's supposed to be a perfect circle. And it's got 4 little circles on the inside, each measuring 2 centimeters in radius. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to calculate this whole shaded area, the same sort of strategy as last time. I'm going to take the area of the big circle that's shaded and subtract out the area of the 4 little circles. So first I want to say the area of the 4 circles. I'm going to write area for circ equals, if you need to look up on your formula sheet, the area of a circle is pi r squared. That's where I'm getting this formula for pi r squared. It's just 4 times pi r squared. So I have 4 circles. I'm going to multiply them by the area of each circle, that's 3.14, and since I've just rounded pi, I'm going to put a rounding dot here. This pi goes on forever, but there's my rounding dot for pi. And the radius of each circle, in case you can't see, that says 2 centimeters, so I just put a 2 here. I would show my work just to be sure you get part marks. That is, do the exponent first. That's where a lot of people mess up. You have 4, oh sorry, I gave the answer away, 2 to the power 2. You can do that in your head or on a calculator, it's 4. And now multiply all those together. Notice I didn't put another rounding dot. Now that I've rounded once, I don't put it again. I'm just doing 4 times 3.14 times 4, and I get 50.24. And once again, check my units. They're in centimeters, so an area would be centimeters squared. So I have 4 unshaded circles, and those 4 circles have an area total of 50.24 centimeters squared. Now what about the bigger outer circle? So I'm going to call that again, you can call it whatever you want, something descriptive though. I call it area big equals, once again the formula is pi r squared, but I only have one big circle, not 4 of them. So I'm going to multiply 3.14, that's pi rounded, so put a rounding dot, times the radius of this big circle. Well, hold on a sec. Well, I gotta square that, but hold on. What's the radius of this big circle? I'm gonna do some work on the side here. The diameter of the big circle first. Do you recognize this is the radius of 2 centimeters? That means from this middle to here it's also 2 centimeters. And from this middle to here it's also 2 centimeters. It's also 2 centimeters here. It's also... Do you get that each circle is 4 centimeters in diameter? So the diameter of this big circle is 4 centimeters plus 4 centimeters plus 4 centimeters plus 4 centimeters. There's other ways to show this work, but right now I'm just calculating what I think is the simplest way to understand it. This circle, the big one, measures across 16 centimeters. So its radius is just 16 centimeters, the whole diameter, divided by 2. You should have learned already that the radius is just half the diameter, which is 8 centimeters. So this big outer circle has a total radius. You could also calculate it this way. Starting from the middle, it's 2, 4, 6, 8. Whichever way you want, but show your work. I got the radius is 8 centimeters. So the area of the big circle is 3.14 times 8 squared, which you can use a calculator or do in your head, is 64. I'll definitely use a calculator here though. What's 3.14 times 64? You get 200.96. What are my units? Centimeters squared. And notice I only put a rounding dot, the line I rounded, which so far has just been the line where I estimated pi, or rounded pi. Okay, finally the area total here is just going to be the area of the big circle, 200.96, minus the area of the 4 small circles, 50.24, which equals, and that's my calculator again, I've got that number left up, 200.96 minus 50.24 gives 150.72. It's a word problem, I should have a word answer, therefore it's understood that you mean the shaded area. Something simple, the area is 150.72 centimeters squared. And we've done it, we've found the area of composite shapes.